Good evening, it's Saturday, the 28th of June. You're tuned in to our 10 p.m. newscast, coming to you from ARIRANG's news centre in Seoul. I'm Mark Broom. Our top story tonight, more than 12 U.S. lawmakers have denounced Japan's recent re-examination of its landmark apology for wartime sexual slavery. In a letter sent to the Japanese government, the lawmakers said the Abe administration's actions were unacceptable. Connie Lee reports.
It's a letter sent to the Japanese government, signed by Representative Mike Honda and 17 other U.S. lawmakers. The letter protests Japan's recent review of the Kono Statement, the 1993 apology for the sexual enslavement of Korean women during World War II. In the letter, the lawmakers say it's regrettable and unacceptable that Japan has even suggested the forcing of women into sexual slavery is unconfirmed. The letter continues to say that the women involved, otherwise known as comfort women, demand more dignity and respect, as they still live to this day, asking for the Japanese government to do more to acknowledge its past wrongdoings. The letter ends with the lawmakers asking Japan to not revise the Kono Statement as it has promised. This move from the U.S. comes about a week after Shinzo Abe's administration announced the results of its review. Japan concluded as Seoul and Tokyo edited the wording of the apology, but said it would not change the statement. The U.S. lawmakers are now urging Tokyo to resolve the highly emotive issue and subsequently boost relations with both the U.S. and South Korea. Connie Lee, ARIRANG News.
A court in Panama has ordered the immediate release of 3 North Koreans detained last year for trying to transport undeclared Cuban weapons through the Panama Canal. In his ruling on Friday, the judge said the trio could not be held responsible for arms trafficking because they were merely executing and obeying direct orders from the state of North Korea. The judge also noted that the incident was of international character and outside Panama's jurisdiction. The North Korean freighter Cheongcheongang was stopped last July and was found to be carrying Cuban military hardware, including 2 MiG-21 aircraft, air defense systems and missiles. 32 other North Korean sailors and the ship were released back in February. Bullying has been identified as the probable cause of what made a Korean sergeant snap and go off on a shooting rampage last weekend that killed 5 of his fellow soldiers and wounded 7 others. According to his attorney, the shooter, only identified by his family name Im, was tormented by other soldiers above and below his rank and ordered to work unnecessarily long hours. The 22-year-old is currently recovering at a local hospital from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the chest. Meanwhile, on Saturday, the South Korean military held a funeral ceremony for the 5 victims in the city of Seongnam, just south of Seoul. Around 500 people were in attendance, including bereaved family members, Korea's defense minister, as you can see there, and other senior military officials. The soldiers were killed at their guard post last Saturday near the inter-Korean border. It's day 74 in the search for those missing in the sunken Sewol ferry, and after the last 48 hours of searching, rescue officials announced earlier on this Saturday that no new bodies have been recovered. 11 people are still unaccounted for. The confirmed death toll stands at 293. Meanwhile, Korea's reinstated Prime Minister Jung Hong-won visited the group memorial altar in the city of Ansan Saturday to pay his respects to the victims of the disaster. He promised the victims' families that the tragedy would never be forgotten. The Sewol ferry was carrying 467 passengers to Korea's southern resort island of Jeju when it sank on April 16th. Now, Ukraine's president has extended a week-long ceasefire with pro-Russian separatists in the east of his country for another 3 days. Petro Poroshenko's office says the week-long ceasefire that ended on Friday was extended until late Monday evening local time. The president says he wants to see some progress made on his peace plan. Some rebel leaders in the most restive regions in the east of Ukraine said they would observe the truce, but others have said they won't. The president's announcement came a matter of hours after he signed a landmark trade pact with the European Union. This was the issue that actually triggered the crisis in the first place. Poroshenko hailed the deal as a way to modernize Ukraine, but stressed there needs to be peace and security for it to work. And staying in Europe, European leaders have approved the nomination of JeanClaude Juncker as the next European Commission president. The former Prime Minister of Luxembourg was nominated by a vote of 26-2 at a summit in Brussels on Friday. Despite strong objections from Britain, the vote, which was insisted upon by British Prime Minister David Cameron, marked a break with a tradition of filling these key roles by consensus. Cameron said the decision to appoint Juncker, a federalist committed to expanding the EU's powers, was, quote, a bad day for Europe. Juncker must now appear before the European Parliament and win a confirmation vote set for mid-July on his policy agenda. We've reached the halfway stage of the Brazil World Cup, and many people would argue that this is when the fun really starts, as it's the knockout stages that begin on this Saturday. First up are host Brazil, and they're taking on Chile. Now, Brazil have generally been playing pretty well, with star player Neymar scoring 4 times in just 3 games. But Chile were also impressive in their wins over Australia and Spain, and to book their passage from Group B. That match kicks off at 1 a.m. Sunday Korea time, so in just about 3 hours' time. After that, 2 more South American teams, Colombia and Uruguay, go head-to-head at 5 a.m. Sunday Korea time. Uruguay will be without star striker Luis Suarez, who was banned for biting an Italian player in their last game. Meanwhile, the Korean squad, as you can see there, who were eliminated after losing 1-0 to Belgium in their final Group H game, will arrive back in Korea on Monday morning. Now, President Park Geun-hye decided earlier this week to retain her current Prime Minister, Jung Hon-won, despite him offering to resign more than 2 months ago. The nomination debacle that saw 2 of the president's previous picks not even making it to their confirmation hearings has raised questions about the efficiency of the entire process. Ji Myung-gil reports.
President Park Geun-hye's 2 nominees for Prime Minister didn't even make it to a confirmation hearing. One brought down over criticisms that he used his past position as a Supreme Court justice to profit in the private sector. The other over controversial remarks he had made in the past. The entire ordeal has prompted ruling Saenuri Party lawmakers to rethink the confirmation process.
The Parliament should reconsider the purpose of confirmation hearings. The first stage should be done behind closed doors with a focus on the candidate's ethical qualifications. The second stage should be made public and focus on the candidate's capabilities.
The ruling party plans to talk with the main opposition party on improving the parliamentary hearing system. However, lawmakers of the main opposition New Politics Alliance for Democracy say the ruling party should blame the presidential office for its picks, not the confirmation system.
The presidential office should revise its personnel appointment system. It shouldn't pin the blame on the parliamentary confirmation hearings. The new cabinet needs to undergo a thorough verification process.
Critics say confirmation hearings frequently end up honing in on a nominee's ethical lapses rather than their capability to carry out the task they've been designated for. Ji Myung-gil, ARIRANG News.
Now, there's been an explosion in the number of Koreans driving imported cars in recent years. Foreign automakers have broken the traditional dominance of Hyundai and Kia, but these local auto giants do have a few aces up their sleeves, as our Kim Min-ji reports.
Foreign car makers in Korea seem to be enjoying their share of the pie, with the number of newly registered foreign cars standing at roughly 15,300 in May. Although the figure is down 8.4% from the previous month, it's a 14% jump from the same period last year. In fact, during the first 5 months of this year, the accumulated sales of foreign cars surged 24% from 2013. To extend their robust sales, foreign car makers have released a series of new models in hopes of meeting the taste of local consumers. Volkswagen unveiled its upgraded Golf hatchback model, while BMW launched its new M3. Mercedes-Benz also released its new C-Class sedan, which underwent a makeover for the first time in 7 years.
Through a comfortable driving experience and the world's best safety technologies, we have set new standards of luxury and innovation.
Local car makers, however, are holding steady, rolling out their own fresh models to attract drivers. Kia Motors released a new version of its popular Carnival minivan, which locked down about 7,000 reservations during a week-long pre-order period.
People these days are enjoying family-centered leisure activities and lifestyles. We believe the new Carnival is the most suitable car for such generations.
Hyundai Motor is also expected to jump on the bandwagon with its new Grandeur diesel model, while Renault Samsung is set to unveil its mid-size SM5 diesel next month. The competition will only get more heated, with both foreign and domestic car makers pulling up to grab the lion's share of the local automobile market. Kim Min-ji, ARIRANG News.
And finally, taking a brief look at the weather here in Korea. Most of the country is under partly cloudy skies tonight. It will be another mild night, with the overnight low only dipping to 17 degrees in Seoul. Sunday will bring similar conditions to today, with the central region under partly cloudy skies, and the highs around the nation will peak in the high 20s to low 30s. Let's take a look at the weather wherever you are watching us around the world. And those are the stories we have for you at this hour. For more of the latest stories, don't forget to check out our website, arirang.co.kr/news. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Goodbye.